details of Valerie's private life. Her son, Genet, is mentioned and is subsumed into the work as graphic artist and collaborator in this project. There are interesting glances, for example, of her niece, mother, and many friends. But the book is about Valerie and her career as artist, writer, playwright, and artist activist. Valerie's art speaks in the first instance through the reviews, and I see, as Ken mentioned, that my own review of her first batik exhibition is included. And I have to say that I wrote art reviews in days as a student, because Pat Bishop, who was supervising my thesis, my BA thesis on the history of art, suggested that I should. So thank you, Pat. And that first exhibition of batik, I recall with great vividness my feeling that Valerie had found her medium. Batik provided a fluidity of line that has gone on to influence the paintings, examples of which appear in the last 40 pages of this very lovely book. These illustrations preserve the clarity of the originals and show the kinds of development and indeed interfusing of forms and interests that have gone into the shaping of a career that has spanned 41 years at the least. But the reviews do something quite significant. They map the changing social and cultural life of Trinidad and Tobago. The photographs include some of the most influential figures in the world of culture. But as Valerie points out, her intervention into that dynamic space brought something new to what I call the somewhat incestuous world of visual art of Trinidad in the 1970s, at least to that point. Her batik brought a new dimension to an art world where the artist often spoke in a foreign vernacular, where he aped or she aped European forms and painted for an elite audience. Batik represented a language that could speak to and for the Caribbean, and her description in the book resonates with Espinosa's treatise on imperfect cinema. The welcome that her batik received emphasizes the yearning already present in the 70s for an art of the people. The text and illustrations in this memoir provide a rich array of reproductions of many of these batik pieces and the responses to these objects of art. The book traces the influence that Valerie's work had seen in Trinidad and Tobago and places like London. In fact, I recall sitting in my living room in Ireland and looking at the television, and there were my two sisters modeling Valerie's gowns. I think it was 1991, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes, yes. I think they are actually in the book. Valerie's account of the way in which she fell into batik, and I'm using the word fell quite deliberately, sums up her attitude to her career. There is something she can do. She discovers or recognizes a talent in herself. She does it. And this explains indeed the ease with which she has fallen successfully into playwriting and producing a work, Night of the Wolf, on the subject of the 1970 Black Power Revolution and the 1992 coup, as well as using these extraordinary events to interrogate what she calls a state of emergency of so many women's lives. These are themes that are still in need of artistic exploration, and what she says here could provide the foundation for some rich analyses and artistic explorations. For Valerie, these subjects emerge from her own particular revolutionary vision and are subjects that she simply had to address. The writing of her novel, Tea Marie, is also explained as something she needed to do. And I want to quote Carol Phillips in a very recent interview on the BBC. In response to a question about why he began writing, he said, "If the book that you want to read isn't there, there is an onus on you to produce it," which is what Valerie did. Writing feverishly for 9 months as if about to give birth, finding the right readers for the manuscript, and the right reviewer for a work that remains of considerable interest to graduate students. And I have a PhD student working on T-Marie. T-Marie offers quite intriguing material for the new eco-critic. When Valerie speaks of this novel, there is a thinly veiled disappointment at the reception the work has received in academic circles for the most part. Its existence as popular fiction seems to have removed it from the sphere of serious criticism and analysis. But she emphasizes over and over again the importance of writing for the man and woman in the street without diminishing the complexity of her vision as artist. As she puts it, writing popular fiction or romance novels should not mean failing to acknowledge the intelligence of the ordinary reader who enjoys the pleasurable encounter with the word. Her emphasis on humanitarian qualities in no way diminishes her questioning of social values. What it reveals is an egalitarian principle. I interviewed Val for the Trinidad Review before the release of the second edition of Dance to Waters, and found strong connections between her own evolution as an individual and that of the narrative. One of the important aspects of this memoir is that it chronicles one woman's mastery of a number of art forms, and it offers itself up as a kind of map for those who wish to earn a living as independent artists in this country called Trinidad and Tobago. She explains some of the intricacies of the craft of batik, and perhaps unconsciously also reveals some of the reasons why she has been such a success. Her care of friendships over many decades, her generous advice and openness to young and not so young, her desire to remain unfettered by convention and to place herself at the center of what she does, and to be guided, as she says, from the inside, which again, as she says, came readily to me from very young. And this has led to the development of what she calls a sensitivity to what is right for me. Her uncanny determination based on the rightness of her insights is one of the reasons that this book speaks with her voice. And this is aligned to an openness and an honesty and a generosity that affects every word that is printed, and that wishes to include and pay tribute to those who have been so receptive to the work throughout her career. But the work speaks in this way because throughout the text, she retains that sense that her art is for public consumption by an audience, and that the reader also has rights. This intention is made very clear. What I have done, she says, and the way that I've explored my potential might be of some use to someone else. This forms part of her artistic manifesto and is inextricably linked to an independence of spirit, a social and political conscience and a worldview that sees from the point of view, as she puts it, the underdog and the ordinary people in society. Her art is therefore an expression of her radicalism. Phrases and words such as answering the call, wasted no time, humility, abound in this book and speak to the themes of people living, market women, women washing in the river, and carnival that reflect a will to see society from the inside and to record what are, in some instances, vanishing images of communities. And the colors, as one commentator has observed, sing with pure emotive force. The illustrations and paintings bound together in this work give the viewer a powerful sense of an imagination that is wild in its apprehension of lived existence, and of the evolution of a sensibility that in her second phase, begins with the tracing of non-threatening landscapes and moves to monumental and powerful female figures. Valerie comments that she seeks continuity between past and present, and that this desire for continuity might well serve as the final word on this visual memoir as we look through the pictures and read about the novels. But above all, it seems to me, the work emerges from an exuberance of spirit and a sense of giving back of the gifts bestowed. It traces connections with the land and with others, and is a testimony to the potential for creativity that lies, no longer latent, within this, our Caribbean space. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Antoine. I think she has showed in a very short space of time that this is a work with liberating implications for art, for the artist's relation to society, for the artist's relation to the landscape, for the artist's relation to himself or to herself. And listening to her, it reinforced something that I didn't say when I was talking, that this is really very humanist document. So thank you very much for bringing out some of these key things about the work. This means that as soon as we finish here, you will go on by yours. But, I leave it now to Valerie to make a response to all the things.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I didn't think I would be, but I really am moved. This whole thing so lightly, and my goodness, I have to catch myself a little bit. I only come up here to crack 2-3 jokes. Thanks. Oh, okay, thanks. The thing is, right, how this book came to be. Oh my goodness, there's lots of people. It's so wonderful to see all my friends. I should have done this long ago. Over the years, people often ask me, how could I part with a certain piece, as the case may be? And I said, I can part with it because I have a photograph.